This grant is about the integration of math, science, and technology and how it relates to the real world. How do you use technology in what you do? How does the love of math translate into your job? How does science come into play in your daily operations?
As an example, water system analysis for a subdivision. If you want to know what that subdivision is going to do, there's too many loops and too many characteristics to know that when I turn on this hydrant or this house faucet, how it's going to impact the system. But on an individual level, I can look at that home and tell you what flow it should have because I know a very simple equation. Beyond that.
Hello, another two-parter for you. What would you say is the most important skill or knowledge that you use in your job? And then how can educators develop that skill in our students?
For me personally, as a supervisor as well, but even before then, was just being able to explain your ideas. Teaching your students to become teachers themselves is big in all aspects. Wherever you go into the workforce, it's becomes the amount of collaboration you have to do on any of these projects, anything you do in workforce now, you have to be able to communicate and explain what it is you want to accomplish. And just knowing the math is not enough. Just knowing the skills is not enough. You have to be able to get that across. So for me, the most important skill is definitely being able to present the material in a fashion that the audience understands.
In terms of the technology and the math, by show of hands, how many people expect to receive a paycheck from the County Office of Education tonight or tomorrow? If you're not raising your hand, it's likely that you don't realize that the county office does payroll for 55,000 people, and yes, if you're in Santee or Lakeside, your paycheck comes through our office. The way that we collaborate with our team across the technology division, and we are in charge of payroll, HR, finance, all those different pieces. So every time the district cuts a check, a lot of times that goes through us.
All right, last question, which is also another two-part. A student who is in kindergarten today will enter the workforce in 2026. What new opportunities do you imagine will open in your field for them to consider as a career? And how do we prepare students for jobs we can't even imagine now?
Well, as I said earlier, I've been through the slide rule to three-dimensional computers now, so I'm pretty much expecting that we're going to be able to telegraph this onto the site visually and be able to walk through it and experience the space without ever building a stick. I also think that buildings are going to become live buildings. I think everything about them is going to be a live product. And I guess we'll all have to have iPods to operate our houses from here on in. So, but that's what I expect that they're saying. It's all about technology.
So this is an interesting question because I've thought about this recently. As a traditional forecaster, I think I might be one of the last in a dying breed of traditional forecasters. I think in the future, computer models will do the bulk of that, and that meteorologists will have a much different role in the future.